Hello, welcome to Michelle Sews Again. I'm Michelle. It's Friday, so today I'm gonna do another Friday Sews. Hashtag Friday Sews. The hashtag was started by the lovely Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. I'll link her channel below. And if you haven't been watching, then where have you been? You need to go to the search tool in YouTube and search hashtag Friday Sews. I would filter on like the last month or so, just so you're getting the newest content. But I mean, so many people are doing this idea now, and it's just a lot of fun to follow everybody and see what they've been sewing, see what they've been thinking about, and get to know them a little bit better. So I encourage you to check that out. Okay, so I'm gonna start with, so I wasn't here last week because I was on vacation. My husband and I were celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary, and so we went to Naples, Florida. So yes, we live on the Atlantic side of Florida at the beach, excuse me, but we just thought a getaway where there's, we're not close to home, there's no obligations hanging over our head or anything, so we just escaped to the Gulf Coast. I have to tell you, we loved it. I'll share more about that at the end. Anyway, so I'm gonna start with getting you caught up on really the week before last, because since I've been home, I haven't really done a lot. I've just been, I've been working and then relaxing at night. You know how it is after a vacation. You kind of need some rest after a vacation, right? Anyway, so I haven't done much this week. So everything the majority of what I'm talking about today is going to be from the previous week. All right. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know that, I can't remember if it was Sunday night or Monday morning, I decided that I needed to make some things for my vacation. Now, mind you, I was leaving Thursday evening immediately after work. So that left me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to get the things that I had planned to sew finished. And my list was pretty aggressive, let's just say that. I had planned to make, now, 6 items. So yes, from a quantity standpoint, it was a little bit of a lofty goal. But quite frankly, 5 of the 6 items were pretty straightforward, easy makes. So I was pretty confident I could get the 5 items made. It was the 6th one that I wasn't sure I'd be able to squeeze in. But the reality is that I not only squeezed in the sixth, why can't I say that? The 6th item, I also squeezed in a 7th. Anyway, all right, so let me tell you what I made. I made 3 swimsuit cover-ups, and I did them in a super easy way, and I'm probably gonna do a separate, film a separate video on that, just because I made all 3 of them slightly different, and so it'll be a short video, but I'll explain it all to you in that video. But I'll put up some pictures. I'm not gonna put them on over a swimsuit because I just don't feel like doing that right now. So you'll see me in these probably over a pair of black leggings because that's what I'm usually wearing. Anyway, so the first one that I had 3 fabrics. They're all gauze, and they were in my stash, and one of them I bought specifically to make a cover-up. The other 2 were just sitting in my stash and I wasn't sure what to do with them. These first 2 fabrics I bought last year when I was still living in Pennsylvania, and I went to Zink's fabric outlet, and I've done a fabric haul video on that. I'll link that below. And these 2 fabrics were from that shopping trip. This first one is a pink and white striped, almost like a seersucker-y kind of gauze. And so I made this one following a DIY tutorial that I found online. And it was pretty straightforward. But I made that one the morning that I decided to make my list. So I made this at literally from the time I cut it out to the time I finished sewing it. I want to say it was a little over an hour, and I did it before my work day started. So I did it early in the morning. While I was working, I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? I think there might be an easier way to do that. So I took a lunch break, which I rarely ever do. I usually work straight through lunch. But because I had this idea and I had a deadline, I was like, let me see if I can bang this out during my lunch break. And I did. So I made the second one out of this gauze, which weighs up. And it's this kind of like aqua, a light aqua and a darker aqua with different size and spaced lines. And I thought that was really pretty. So I made that one my way. And that one was pretty easy as well. So I didn't have any, that one was straightforward. Let's see, what did I do different? Okay, and then I made my third one Monday night. Nope, I lie. I didn't make my third one next. What I made next was another bellbird top. I had this great tie-dye, like denim-y looking fabric that I had gotten from Joann's a couple of months ago. And it was sitting in my stash, and I thought that that would make a great bellbird top. I knew I wanted a bellbird top to go under the York pinafore that I was making, which I'll show you next. And I just thought that this fabric would look really good. I did put in a fun binding, and you'll see that I flubbed a smidge. I cut the binding just literally like that much too short. I had enough. I just cut it before I finished sewing it, like a dummy. So that's annoying me. Anyway, I love this. I'll post a picture of me wearing it. It's probably my favorite bellbird top that I've made. So what I did was this is one of the few patterns that I have from a PDF that I actually taped the pieces together. It was before I discovered PDF plotting. And so I taped the pieces together, and I've used it. This is the fifth bellbird top that I've made. And on a couple of them, I remembered to extend the width of the hem and the length of the hem. On my last one that I made with that fun floral, like pink base floral fabric, it was really, the fabric was too stiff for the shirt. I will still wear it, but I forgot to do those modifications. And so it's a little bit snug at my hip, and it's a little bit shorter than I would prefer, but I'm still gonna wear it. So in order not to continue to make that mistake, I took my PDF pattern and I traced it onto tracing paper, and I added the 2 inches to the hem circumference and 2 inches to the hem length, and it's perfect now. So this is a tried and true pattern for me. I will make more of these because they're super fast to make. By the way, I put the bias binding in. It's the first time I've done that. The pattern actually comes with facing pieces. And I just decided that I wanted to do the bias instead. So, and it was, quite frankly, a lot easier. So I will probably continue to do bias on the neckline instead of the facings for this shirt. Yeah, I'll make more of those. All right, so that was Monday night. So then Tuesday morning before work is when I made my next swimsuit cover-up. And I got a lot of love on Instagram for this fabric because it's fabulous. If I do say, no, I can say that because I didn't design it. But how amazing is that? It's a double gauze. It's called the Sweet Pea gauze. It's from Spoonflower. And I just love the flamingos on here. I love the, like, I don't know, it's almost got a splotchy, like, paint kind of feel to it. It's just fabulous. And I made this one yet a different way than the other two. So I will make a video on how I made all 3 of those cover-ups. They're all super easy, but But I think that even with this one, I think that I have one more modification that I would make until it's like the perfect easy swimsuit. Now, this was easy, and the modification I'm gonna make isn't gonna make it any easier. It'll just make it, I think, a little bit cuter. We'll see. All right, so then that was Tuesday morning. Then Tuesday at lunch, I started on my second York pinafore. How pretty is this fabric? Love it. Oh, that's the back. Nope, that's the front. There's the pocket. I love this fabric. It's a twill, I think it's a twill canvas. It's pretty like soft for a canvas though, but it's from Style Maker Fabrics, and I just love this print. And this is what I really felt like this tie-dye would look really good with this, and I love it. I like mixing prints, so I think it looks great together. You might not, but that's okay with me because I like it. And I put on my first York pinafore with the peacocks, I don't know if you remember that, but I had done a bias binding on the outside, so it showed. On this one, I didn't want it to show because I didn't want to take away from this fabric. So I did this, I had this beige with gold fleck bias tape. So I did that on the insides of the pockets and the armholes, and then I ran out. So I had to do something different for the neck, and I happen to have this pink that I thought worked really well. So the neckline has got a pink bias binding, and the rest of it has that beige with gold. And that's my second but not last York pinafore from Helen's Closet. It's just so comfortable. I love it. I wore that outfit. Well, I actually wore all of this so far. I wore on my vacation. All right, so then I made this. So I finished the York pinafore on Tuesday night, and I still had time. I figured I would start to cut out the sixth and final pattern. I figured, okay, this is great. I've got Tuesday night, Wednesday morning before work, Wednesday afternoon I can take a lunch break, and then Wednesday night. So I had 4 blocks of time to get started on my Style Arc Nova midi dress. So up until this point, the 2 patterns that I had made before, so I knew how to make them. And the 3 cover-ups I knew were gonna be super simple. This one I had never made. Now, in all fairness, it is extremely similar to the free peppermint pattern bar-down dress, which I have already made. But it is, the bodice is more like a sleeveless top than a tank top because it's wider. And the pattern calls for the bodice to be lined. So the changes that I made were, I didn't line the bodice, and I didn't, you can make it with either the 2 tiers or with 3 tiers. I made the 2-tier version. So, and I think it comes with facings for no, it doesn't because it's lined. So you're supposed to line the entire bodice. So it's actually called a double bodice. And because I chose to forego that because I didn't need it, my fabric is sturdy enough, like it just didn't need it. So I did a bias binding, and I still had some of that pink that I used on my York pinafore, and it went perfectly with this. And so I started on this Tuesday night. I traced the pattern, I cut out the fabric, and I actually started sewing it Tuesday night. And I actually had a Zoom call with some of my my sewing buddies here on YouTube that we've done a couple of times, and we have so much fun. We're really getting to know each other. We're swapping sewing tips. It's so much fun. If you have a chance if you have a group of friends that you can do that with, because I don't know about you, but I have 0 friends in my real life that sew. So I don't have anybody to talk about this stuff with. So having that group that we can just like talk about sewing, we sit there and we all do our own thing. So I was tracing and cutting. Somebody else was pinning and sewing. Like you do whatever you need to do, and there's no like, it's not like a sew along. So we're all working on our own projects. It's just that we're on Zoom and we're chit-chatting and about sewing, about our lives. And it's just interesting to get to know people. Anyway, I'm babbling now. It's a lot of fun. I started cutting this out when I was on my Zoom call. And when I first cut out this front piece, I thought I really positioned my pattern piece because I really wanted this big pink flower on the bodice. But when before I sewed it together and I held the front pattern piece up to my body, these 2 flowers looked like they were going to be a little bit lower. It was a little bit of a concern that it might look inappropriate, but I didn't have any, once I finished laying out all my pattern pieces, this was already cut. I didn't have any more fabric to use. So I couldn't have lined this with the fabric anyway. I would have had to line it with something else. And I couldn't have made a 3rd tier if I wanted to, unless I did it with a coordinating fabric. Anyway, so I actually started sewing this Tuesday night, and then I finished it. I did some more Tuesday morning, and then Wednesday morning, and then I finished it Wednesday during my lunch break, which meant I had all night Wednesday to do something else. So I did. So on my June goals list, one of the things that I wanted to do was to make another Fiber Mood Ida. Yes, a Fiber Mood Ida. You know, the one with the cuff that was kind of like sticking out like a wing. I wanted to make another one. I wanted to do something different with the wing. So I had this really great linen fabric from Dupe Designs. It's one of those fabrics that I got from Australia. Wait, can I just back up a second and tell you about this fabric? I'm so in love with this fabric that I couldn't wait to wear this dress on my vacation. This is one of my spoonflower fabrics, and the designer, I'm following her on Instagram, and this was truly a painting that she turned into fabric. And it is just, it's the epitome of me and my personality and my fabric desires. I don't know what else to say, but it's this great, bright, vibrant floral, very painterly looking because it is a painting. And I can't have a whole wardrobe out of this. So I'll be ordering some other things from her designs on Spoonflower, and they'll be worth the money because I love them that much. So I'm just gonna say that. All right, so then I moved on to the Ida, and I had this fabric. It's a linen fabric that I got from Dupe Design. They're based in Australia. I had bought 4 pieces of fabric when I placed that order, and I made this with no sleeve. So I didn't put the cuff on it at all, and I just finished it with a really fun like rainbow bias tape that I had bought on Etsy, and I thought that looked perfect with this fabric. My only problem, and I know I can fix it, it's probably gonna be some hand stitching, is when I clipped the seam for the V, I didn't think I did, but I must have clipped too far because on both sides I have an itty bitty hole. It's itty bitty. I mean, I was so sure. Maybe the fabric, maybe when I clipped it, the fabric must have been bunched up underneath and I accidentally caught it. That's probably what happened because the hole is only on the right side. Luckily it's small enough. I feel pretty certain that I can do some kind of darning or something like that. And it won't be perfect, but it'll be wearable. Anyway, so I made this Ida top, sleeveless, and it'll be a great summer top. And I put my little label in it. All right, so those are the 7 things that I made the week before I went on vacation. All right, what is the status of my June project list? So 1, I made another Ida, that was on my list. My summer sweater, I didn't get a ton more done on my summer sweater because I spent a lot of time sewing. I did take it with me, so I got a little bit of sewing done in the car on the drive to Naples, and then I got a little bit done. I didn't knit at all while I was in Naples, but then I got a little bit done in the car on the way back, and then I've gotten a little bit done since I've been home. So I'll post a picture of what it looked like at my last check-in. I believe it was somewhere around here. And so I finished off the skein of the Noro yarn, and then I started back on the solid. And I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna finish off the solid skein and make it that long. I don't know, I'll decide. I mean, I'm not following a pattern, so I can do whatever I want. But yeah, so that's the progress that I've made there. I'll make some more progress tonight, and that'll be good. So the Ida, and then I got some more sewing done, or knitting done on my sweater. That's really all of the additional stuff that I got done on my June project list. And I still have a handful of things to do, which, you know, in the next week, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get them done because I have 2 big projects that are coming up that I have to get done. So those might have to shift over to July. So speaking of 2 big projects, let me talk about the first one. I am doing my first pattern test, and I'm quite excited about it. I got chosen because the pattern tester she had testing done in smaller sizes, and she realized she didn't have enough done in bigger sizes. So based on my measurements, I'm on the smaller end of the bigger sizes that she needed tested. So I got chosen because I'm right on that cusp of where she needed some additional testing done. So she sent the pattern last Friday. I sent it off to the printer. I got an email today that she realized, because somebody had already started on it, and some of the feedback she got is that the part of the pattern piece is not correct. So she has to fix it and resend. So luckily it's only 2 pieces out of all the pattern pieces. So when she sends the corrections, I can either make the corrections on the pattern that I got printed, or I can print the new pieces and exchange them for the ones that I got printed. Anyway, so I'm excited about getting that started, but I have a deadline of July 9th. That's the extended deadline since she had to send us corrections. For the fabric for this pattern, which I don't think I can talk about the actual pattern yet, but for the fabric, I asked for help on Instagram. I had narrowed it down to 5 fabrics and put them up on Instagram, asked everybody to vote, and I liked all 5. So I was like, I can't lose here. Whichever one ranks number 1, I'm gonna let that be the one. And so I'll put a picture up here. When I went to get the fabric to show in the video, I realized that I had put it in the washing machine 2 days ago and I never moved it to the dryer. So I had to rewash it because that's no bueno. So what happened was the number 2 fabric was actually my favorite out of the 5. I liked all 5. I'm very happy with the number 1 choice. That is what I'll make the final garment in. But I went ahead and bought number 2 as well. So I'm very sorry, Sarah, but I broke our no buy rule. I've bought 3 pieces of fabric this month when I said I wasn't gonna buy any. 1 is for my next big project that I'm about to tell you about. So that one's for a good cause. My first fabric in this buy is for a good cause. But then when I bought number 2, just because I liked it, I feel like that was very much cheating. The other 2, I didn't feel like it was cheating because they were for good causes. Anyway, so yeah, I'm excited about that. So I'll be able to share more of that in the next coming weeks. The next big project that I have is that I am participating in a challenge with Jess from So What If I Sew. Her 1 year Instaversary is coming up. And so she's got a 7-day challenge going on. And it's right up my alley because, as I've mentioned many times before, my goal is to continue to improve my sewing skills. And her challenge is called #SewNewInJune. And the theme of it is that you're trying something new and you're pushing yourself to improve. And so she's got a different theme for every day of the week. It starts June 28th. So does that go through July 3rd? I forget. It's 7 days starting June 28th. And every day has a theme. I'll pop up on here what her challenge post from Instagram, all of the themes that she's got. And her goal is to get everybody to try something new. You can participate just 1 day. You can participate all 7 days. You can participate on Instagram. I'm doing Instagram and YouTube. I've decided to participate all 7 days. I am going to make something. It's a new pattern for me. It's a raincoat. It's a fabric that I've never used before. There are some techniques that I've never used before. It's got a gusset pocket. It's got snaps for closures. It's got a hood, and it's in this fabric that I've never used before. So the pattern is the Fiber Mood Abbey. I've actually printed the instructions because I'm actually going to do some test work because I've also decided that on top of trying a new pattern with new fabric and new finishes, I'm gonna do a sew along, which is also new for me. So I'm gonna post on Instagram all of the first 6 days, and then on the 7th day, I'm gonna post the sew along on YouTube. So yeah, I'm kind of excited and nervous at the same time. I really love my fabric. I can't wait for you to see it. But yeah, so that's a big project, and that's one of the things that I bought fabric for. So I felt like it was a good cause because it's supporting Jess and her Instaversary. And if you want to play along, she's got prizes. I believe she's got prizes. So I definitely encourage you to go check it out. Look, we can all use some encouragement to try new techniques and improve our sewing skills, right? So I suggest you do it. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to tell you is I have been binge watching tie-dye tutorials on YouTube because I have a vision of something that I want to do. I have the peppermint pattern maxi dress, and I want to do something different, not just your basic tie-dye. I'm gonna do something really cool with that. I don't know exactly what pattern yet, but I'm narrowing it down. All right, and then book-wise, I have a new book. It's the Complete Photo Guide to Perfect Fitting. And I think that this is really gonna help me with just having an easy reference for full bust adjustments, for pants fitting, for it really, I mean, it's a pretty good book. I'll be able to give you a better review once I actually start using it, but it came highly recommended, so I'm kind of excited about that. And I also pre-ordered, Jenny from Cashmerette just released a book, or it's released on pre-order, called Ahead of the Curve, and it's for fitting for curvy bodies. And I pre-ordered that, so I'm super excited about that coming in. And then the last thing that I had to share sewing wise is I bought this, I think I discovered it after doing Jenny from Cashmerette's Master Fitting for Curvy Bodies class, and she was using this pressing mat instead of a ironing board. This thing, for a small sewing space, this thing is a game changer. So it's just this I guess it's Teflon, I don't know. It's this coated fabric pad. It's got, two-sided. It folds up, it's got magnets in it so that it weights it down. It folds in half and then in quarters and then in half, and it stores away so easy. And I can whip this thing out and put it, so I have a table for my machines, and then I've got a table that I use for everything else. So that's the table that I use to trace my patterns, to cut my fabric out. And now, instead of having to drag out an ironing board, I also press on that table. So it's just perfect. It fits on my table perfectly, and I'm super excited about it, and I'll put a link below. I got it on Amazon. It was like, I don't remember how much it was, but it's worth it to me. So that's all that I have sewing wise. I have no idea. Yes, I do. I was about to say I have no idea what I'm gonna start on next, but I do. I have two big projects. I've got to start on my raincoat, and then I've got to start on my pattern test once I get the revised pieces. So those are big projects. Anyway, so my vacation. So it was our 15th anniversary, and we drove to Naples, which really isn't that far. I want to say it was like an hour and 45 minutes straight across the state from one side to the other. We're like on the same plane from Miami to Naples, an hour and 45 minutes across I-75. And we stayed in this like really fabulous, my husband, he's amazing. He has always done all the planning for our vacations and everything. It's not my thing. I'm not a it's funny. Planner has actually been my title at work for many, many years. But in my personal life, I'm not a planner. So he actually planned our wedding and everything. Like he did all of that. So he planned it, he booked the resort, and we were treated like a king and queen. I mean, the service at the resort was top notch. We had an amazing view of the beach. Even though we were across the street, our room was high enough and we had a balcony, and there was no structure blocking our view to the beach from our balcony. So it was fabulous. So we would drink coffee there in the morning. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in our room, to be honest. We spent a lot of time at the beach. We did a couple of boat tours. We did an eco boat tour where we got to see manatee and dolphins, and we went to a beach and picked shells. So that one is where I got very sunburned. I don't know if you can tell so much, but my head is peeling. I put SPF on before I left, but I didn't take any with me to reapply. And it was a almost a 4-hour boat ride. And that hazy sun, man, it'll get you. And then that night, my husband surprised me with a romantic dinner, candlelit dinner on the beach. And he arranged it all through the hotel. Like, I was so surprised. It was so amazing. It was a 4-course dinner. I couldn't finish everything. It was just too much food, but it was just, and our waiter was amazing. We had champagne, we had wine, we had 4 courses of food. We were on the beach, we heard the waves, we saw the sunset. It was perfect. And then the next day, we spent more time at the beach, and then we did a sunset catamaran cruise, which was also just beautiful. And then we came home on Monday. And so, I mean, it wasn't a ton, but it was just enough, and it was just perfect. Anyway, that's all I have to share with you guys today. This video is too long. I will try and cut it down next time because this is too much chattering. Anyway, I very much appreciate you joining me. If you have made any of the patterns that I shared today and you would like to share your images with me, I'd love to see them. If you have anything that you liked specifically about these, I'd love to hear it. If you have anything about these that you don't like, I'd love to hear that too. And I think that's about all I have to say. So I will be in touch soon because I'm gonna do a quick video on those swim cover-ups, and I'll do a review of the Nova midi dress. And I think that's about it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for joining me wherever you are. I hope the weather is gorgeous and I hope you're able to get in some sewing. Thanks a lot. Bye.